Hello, people. Welcome back to another video by your good friend, Chad Marco, the Big Anarchy. Make sure you guys smash that like button and let's have a conversation. So I was on Twitter and I've been seeing this clip flying around for like the past couple of days. So if you don't know, there is a man named Dr. Umar Johnson. He's a black man and he's very much into black empowerment, pro-black, black business, black education, black. On black, y'all. On black, y'all. On blickety blick to the black. He's that type of guy. And he was on the Joe Budden podcast. And you know how it is nowadays. The best moments get clipped out and spread through the internet, go viral, things like that. And so there was a part where he was having a discussion with the podcaster Joe Budden and his crew. And he insinuated that black men who date outside of their race have low racial self-esteem. Oh. And that's been a very hot topic. And I've kind of just been at first I ignored it. But the clip just kept getting more and more popular. So I started just, lurking in the comments and seeing what people were talking about. And I was like, you know what? This is actually an opportunity for a good conversation. And that's why I decided to talk about this. But, what's my opinion on this whole debate that's going on now about specifically black men dating outside of their race? But I think this could apply to other races as well. Asian women, white men, black men. But definitely the core focus is going to be on black men who do that. So again, his insinuation is that black men who do this have low racial self-esteem. And I can't say I completely disagree, because I think that racial self-esteem is a real thing, or how some people think lowly of themselves based on their race. You do hear and see like the self-hating black guy, the self-hating Indian, the self-hating Asian and things like that. Guys who they feel like their race is a detriment to them for one reason or another. So I can't sit here and say that low racial self-esteem certainly isn't a thing. But I do think that to just wholesale put that on every black guy who decides to date outside of his race, I do think that's inaccurate. I think that would be false. But one thing I want to talk about first, though, is my own perspective and how I view race and like why I feel the way that I do. Because me personally, would I date outside of my race? Would I date a white woman, an Asian woman, whatever? Hell yes, I would. And so according to Dr. Umar Johnson, that would mean that I have low racial self-esteem. And I think in my case, I definitely disagree with that. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily say that I have high racial self-esteem either. And so what do I mean by that? So my thing is this, and you can agree with me or not. This is just how I feel. This is my value system, my belief system. I don't really have a strong attachment to my own race. I'm a black man. I'm of African descent, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But I'm not one of those guys that's like, again, super pro black, African medallion, Black Lives Matter. That's not my thing. To be frank, I don't really give one fuck about my race. I'm truly a believer in what Martin Luther King said when he said, judge a man not by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. So the way I judge myself, the way I value myself is not based on my race. My goal, when it's all said and done, I don't want to be remembered like solely as a black man. I want to be remembered for being a good man. I want to be remembered for being a man of integrity, a man of honor, a man who was loyal, a man who was truthful, a man who was productive. right? That's what I hang my hat on. I hang my hat on character. I hang my hat on integrity and things like that. I don't hang my hat on my race. Again, I'm okay with being black. I'm fine with it. I don't, and because I have been accused of being coonish and things like that, but I think it's one of those things where by default, if you're not pro-black, the assumption is that you're anti-black. And I think that's kind of why Dr. Umar has that perspective, because he sees it like, okay, well, if you're a black guy and you're dating a white woman, you must hate black women or something like that. Don't get me wrong. It happens, but that's just not necessarily the case for all men who date outside their race. Dating outside your race does not mean that you hate yourself. It does not mean that you hate the women or the men of your race. Again, it happens, but that's not always the case. I think most of the time people just simply have a preference. There are white women out there who just absolutely love black men. There's white women out there, that love some chocolate. That doesn't necessarily mean that they hate themselves. It doesn't mean that they hate white men. It just might be something about black men that they find particularly attractive. There are black women out there who love white men, and that doesn't mean that they hate themselves. Not all the time. And again, I've definitely seen that type. That's why I can't completely discredit Umar on that, because I do think that it's a real thing. And one thing that I'll say too, that does really hit the mark as far as almost or looking like low racial self-esteem. It's funny because Umar called out black men, but I don't think anybody displays that, like what he was trying to express, low racial self-esteem, like Asian women. The way Asian women talk about their men, the Asian women who go after white men, oh my God. I mean, I thought black men and black women were going at it the way we talk about each other sometimes, but I mean, Asian women just absolutely drag their men through the mud, with no heart, no mercy. Oh man, but I just think that when it comes to interracial dating, my overall opinion though is that I'm fine with it. I think it's okay. I think it's a beautiful thing when different races find each other attractive, and even when they have a preference for it. One thing that I saw, like, there were guys in this whole topic and debate, they were trying to justify their dating outside their race as a coincidence. Like, no, I don't specifically seek out Latino women or white women. It was just an accident. And I'm looking at that shit like, bro, like, why are you trying to justify yourself to these people on the internet? If you have a specific taste and fondness for a race outside of your own, own that shit. Stand on that shit, man. Like, you don't got to apologize to anybody because you find other races more attractive. Me personally, I just don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, and then again, I think it's important to make the distinction that just because you have a preference for another race doesn't mean that you hate the women of your race. Like, I don't hate black women, but if you said, Chad Marco, if you had a choice, what race of women would you date? Like, just out of all races, which would you choose? Me personally, I would pick Italian. I've always thought that Italian women were absolutely the most gorgeous. It's just they look exotic and they're fair skinned. And I love that. I also love Jewish women and those big noses. I know that's weird because, that's the part that people tend to make fun of. But I think the way Jewish women have those unique looking, like, I love that. I think Jewish women and Italian women are some of the most gorgeous. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I dislike black women or that I wouldn't date black women. Like, I would love to date a beautiful, attractive woman of any race. But I do have a preference. And if I had to pick, I would go with Italian. I would go with Italian and or Jewish. Oh man, I'm exposing myself here, but look, I'm standing on it. And I think Another thing too, when it comes to this topic, is I kind of feel like black women specifically have a certain insecurity about black men wanting to date outside of their race. My friend, he was telling me recently about, he's been going back watching old Kevin Samuels videos, rest in peace. And he was telling me about how Kevin Samuels would talk about how black women have to recognize that they're in competition with other races because some black men have the option of dating outside of their race. And so it's like, it's a competition. And I think part of this rhetoric of self-hatred or low racial self-esteem stems from, quite frankly, people not wanting to compete. I think there are black women who they would rather shame you. They would rather shame black men for wanting to date outside of their race instead of saying, you know what, I'm in competition with these white girls. I'm in competition with these Italians or Asians. Let me step my game up, and it's one of those things where you see this dislike of interracial dating in different races, but it manifests itself in different ways. It's like if you go on the poll board, for instance, on 4chan, obviously a lot of racist white men up there, and you see how they talk about white women who date black men. They call them coal burners and mud sharks and things like that. So again, this isn't something that only black men have to deal with. I think white women deal with it, Asian women deal with it, black women deal with it. But again, my position is just that, dude, if you have a preference for another race, go for it. It's fine. Just do you. Just do you, man. And but again, the whole racial low self-esteem thing, I think that, I can't win that. If you're holding me to that standard, like I'm just supposed to feel so great about my own race and my black queens and all that, I can't win that because I don't share in that sort of reverence for my own race. I just don't. I'm okay with being black, but I'm not in love with it. It's okay. It's not important to me. Like if there was a ray gun that could turn me white or Asian or whatever, just randomly turn me to another race, I don't care, because regardless of what race I am, I'm still in position to be a great man. I'm still in position to be a contributor to my family. I'm still in position to do wonderful things and be productive in this world and achieve my goals. That's what's important to me. I don't care about the color of my skin. I just don't. And obviously some people, they would take issue with that. And it is what it is. I care more about who I am as an individual and my character as opposed to what the color of my skin. So I don't partake in this racial self-esteem thing. I think as long as you don't hate yourself like, damn, I'm going to hang myself because I'm black, then I think it's fine. All these extreme levels of pro-white and pro-black, again, the white guys who get mad at white women who date black men, the black women who get mad at black, like, I just think it's silliness. It's silly. And again, I think it's beautiful when people have those preferences. I think it's a beautiful thing because there's always been so much racial tension and hatred and fighting amongst each other. For people to say, to shame people for saying, I'm white and I love black men. It's to shame a man for saying, I'm black and I love white women. To shame a black woman who says, I'm black and I love white women. I mean, it's fucking despicable. To me, it's despicable. It's disgusting. It's some backwards ass thinking shit. Enjoy that. Relish in it. Relish in the love, the interracial love. oh man. But you know what? I'm gonna say something that will make black women upset because this topic sort of extended a bit to something else. This is the last thing I'm gonna talk about. So also on Twitter, there was this post that was shaming black men who don't prefer to date outside of their race, but black men who prefer lighter skinned women. Right? And again, just more silliness, just more, like this whole idea that just because you're black, you gotta like the blackest charcoal burnt Look at it. Just more craziness. And I'm gonna be completely honest. If you ask me to be 100% truthful, and you said, Marco, would you rather have a bad dark skinned bitch or a bad light skinned bitch? I would rather have a light skinned bitch. I think light skinned women are more attractive than dark skinned women. Oh my God. Right? Now, of course, the initial reaction from my dark skinned brothers and sisters would be, oh, coon, Uncle Tom. But look at it from a different perspective, right? Let's say, what if it was a black woman who said, I love light-skinned men. Would she get as much flack and shit as a black man would get for saying that he prefers light-skinned women? I don't think so. I think a black woman expressing that she loves light-skinned brothers, I don't think she would get near. Maybe someone, Dr. Umar would, but not playing. But I think this is another thing that specifically pertains to black men, where we're not only shamed for preferring women outside of our race, we're also shamed for preferring lighter skinned women. And there are people who say, "Oh man, it's because of white or European beauty standards, slavery programming, colonial programming." But I don't think that's the case. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. And this could be a weird point that I make here, but because I've been thinking about it, like, why do I feel that way? Why do I find light-skinned women more attractive than darker skinned women? And when I say more, that doesn't mean an absence of attraction towards darker skinned women. There was this, one of the most cutest girls I ever seen in my life in middle school was a dark skinned, straight from African chick. And she's one of the most cutest girls I ever seen. But if I had a choice, I would go for light skin. So I was thinking, why is that? And maybe I'm off base, but I think that lighter skin or fairer skin is associated with femininity. And I think darker skin is associated with masculinity. And so think about it. What colors do we consider to be feminine colors? Or right? Pink, yellow, sky blue. Colors like that are very feminine looking, right? Especially pink, which is, again, a very light color. And what are masculine colors? Black, red, purple, dark. Look at another weird example, but look at Guts and Griffith from Berserk. Guts, masculine, muscular, big, handsome, hard, and he's darker tan skin. Look at Griffith, feminine, dainty, fruity, right? And he has the pale skin and the white hair. And again, maybe I'm just cherry picking here, but I'm just trying to figure out my own psychology and try to explain this. And I think, again, that it's possible that the same way that height and size are associated with masculinity, right? The way a woman would say, I like taller, bigger men because I feel protected, they're more masculine. I think it's possible that some men prefer lighter skinned women because lighter skin is perceived as being more feminine than darker skin. What do women always say? I want a man that's tall, dark, and handsome. I've never heard a woman say, I want a man that's tall, light, right? And so I'm theorizing, because again, if my preference for lighter skinned women has nothing to do with slavery or colonial programming, then what is it? And so I just took time to think about, what can it possibly be? And what I believe is that it's possible that the preference for light skin, whether it leads you to date outside of your race or leads you to prefer light skinned black women or whatever, I think that it has to do with the fact that lighter skin is more closely associated with femininity, the way that size and height is associated with masculinity. But again, I think women have a harder time. Well, let's be honest. We both men and women these days have a hard time accepting the disadvantages that they have in terms of the dating market. There are men that are upset and can't accept that women want taller, bigger, stronger men. And there are women out there that can't accept that men want lighter skin, more feminine, more submissive women. So I think that's what a lot of it has to do with. But that was my general thoughts on that. Again, man, love who you love, prefer who you want, rainbows and sunshine and all that stupid shit. It's all love, baby. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you on the next. So, Johnny.